Well, tonight, opposition NPP threatens nationwide protest as it calls out President Mahama's controversial suspension of the Chief Justice as a threat to Ghana's democracy.
Expect massive protest from us. We will agitate. We will not sit down quietly. We will agitate. This is unconstitutional.
We have details as the party challenges the president to end what they say is a political witch hunt.
A petition has been filed at the Supreme Court challenging the very process. At least the president should adhere to the rules and principles of the law by allowing the due process to follow before he can even carry on with the politically motivated activity. At least the law should speak first.
We have details plus reactions here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy holy sleep. My name is Samuel Kojo Brace. Tonight, opposition New Patriotic Party has threatened a nationwide protest against President Mahama's controversial suspension of the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo to make way for investigations following petitions for her removal from office. The NPP says the move by the president constitutes a political witch hunt and a direct threat to Ghana's democracy. President John Dramani Mahama triggered the suspension of the Chief Justice after a prima facie case was established against her. The NPP is accusing President Mahama for what they describe as an unprecedented attack on judicial independence and a blatant violation of Ghana's constitution. The party is thus calling on President John Mahama to immediately reinstate the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Listen to the General Secretary of the party, Justin Frimpong Kodia.
Yesterday was a sad day for the democracy of this country, whereby under the Fourth Republic, an independent organ, the Judiciary, was attacked to the extent that the Chief Justice of the Republic had been suspended by the sitting president, something that has never happened under this Fourth Republic. And as a party, we are using this medium to show our displeasure about the action of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. This is not the democracy Ghana wishes for. And as a country that has gone through several elections, there should be progression, not retrogression. The action by His Excellency President Mahama is not just absurd, but also repugnant and unconstitutional. More so when we know a petition has been filed at the Supreme Court challenging the very process. At least the president should adhere to the rules and principles of the law by allowing the due process to follow before he can even carry on with the politically motivated activity. At least the law should speak first. We are on this medium calling on the civil society, particularly Ghana Bar Association, to come out to condemn the action of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. But we can also assure you, as a political party, the New Patriotic Party will continue to offer a responsible and constructive criticism to the NDC government.
So that's the General Secretary of the NPP, Justin Frimpong Kodia there. He was speaking at the party's launch of it, thank you to earlier this afternoon now. The NPP National Organizer, Henry Nana Boakye, speaking at the same launch of the party's thank you tour, emphasized that the party will not allow what it perceives as an erosion of democratic norms to go unchallenged.
Democracy is under attack. Our judiciary is under attack. Do not think that this attack is on the person of Chief Justice Torkornoo. No. It is the entire judiciary. Expect massive protest from us. We will agitate. We will not sit down quietly. We will agitate. This is unconstitutional.
So that's Henry Nana Boakye. He is the national organizer of the New Patriotic Party there. So the party is on loggerheads with the president for the decision he's taking. They are describing this as unconstitutional. They're saying is an attack on the judiciary. We will get deeper into this particular matter when we're joined by the Deputy General Secretary here on Top Story. We'll get all the breakdown for you on this particular show. This is Top Story brought to you by Telecel, Connecting Energies and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. So this is the raging issue in Ghana where the Chief Justice, Gertrude Torkornoo, has been asked to step aside, whilst investigations continue because a prima facie case has been established by the Council of State. You remember or you'll recall that the President received, we are told, some 3 petitions for the removal of the Chief Justice. Those petitions were forwarded to the Council of State, and the process also demanded, in the process, the Chief Justice wrote to the presidency asking to be given audience to see the petitions. So those petitions were made available to her. She presented her responses to them, and those responses together with the petitions were presented to the Council of State. It is on that basis that the prima facie case was determined that yes, there is a case that the Chief Justice was to answer. Now, if you look at the Article 146, it states that when a prima facie case has been established, in the case of the Chief Justice, the President is supposed to set up a committee to investigate this matter. And the committee, we were told, must include 2 justices of the Supreme Court, one of whom shall be appointed chairman by the President. It must also have 3 other persons who are not members of the Council of State, nor members of Parliament, nor lawyers. And this committee was established, or we were communicated to as Ghanaians yesterday, that the President has formed this particular 5-member committee to look into the matters. And today, the New Patriotic Party is disagreeing with the President on all fronts. They say this is not the rule of law that we've come to understand, and that in the Fourth Republic, this is the first time a Chief Justice is being made to step aside. Now, if you look at the Constitution itself, it again says, now, where a petition has been referred to a committee, under this article, the President may, in the case of the Chief Justice, acting in accordance with the advice of the Council of State, by warrant signed by him, suspend the Chief Justice. That is what the President has done. He's asked the Chief Justice to step aside for this committee to do its work. But the opposition New Patriotic Party says they disagree with the process and they are labeling this unconstitutional. We would get more from them to try and understand from their perspective what they do perceive as unconstitutional. We've been joined on the line by the Deputy General Secretary of the NPP, Haruna Mohammed. Grateful to you, Haruna, for joining us here.
Thank you.
Okay. We're also joined by the Deputy Director of Elections of the NDC, Dr. who is also joining us on the telephone lines anyway, Dr. Tanko Rashid Computer. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us.
I'm grateful. And let me say good evening to your cherished listeners and my brother Haruna, the opposition man.
Haruna, let me start with you, Haruna. Why is this unconstitutional, as your General Secretary is saying? Where lies the unconstitutionality?
Thank you very much. I would say good evening to your cherished listeners, and also to my good brother, Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, whose mouth is full now and talking has become very difficult for him. This is something that we have to all look at holistically. These are matters of the judiciary, and the NPP is very worried in a sense that the current president, as candidate Mahama, made a specific pronouncement in Akusumbu when my brother Rashid Tanko computer was present. And he made a statement that the lawyers within the NDC fraternity should prepare. He's going to make sure that he gets them to be on the bench, and many of them will get such opportunity. Little did we know that this is the hierarchy at which this particular discussions at Akusumbo is going to take and the shape. We all know that there is a case at the Supreme Court pending a decision to be made by the Supreme Court relative to the processes that has been started, Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. And we know that when such matters are put before the courts, and every student from primary knows that we have three arms of government, that is the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. It is somehow, in a manner looked at, that the executive is trying as much as possible to control the judiciary. As a result of that, President Mahama has gone ahead to suspend the Chief Justice using the process that has been started, which has been questioned, to be decided at the Supreme Court. We all know that such decisions must wait until a decision is made at the Supreme Court before it proceeds. You cannot overrule or override on a pending decision and go ahead and make a pronouncement based on a process that you have started, which has been cautioned.
But if that be the case, the president will bear his own cross. Why not allow the process to run? If the president is found to have gone against what the law says, he will bear his cross. Why is that a worry for you, NPP?
You see, Kojo, what is worrying is that we are running a democratic process in Ghana. We are no more running a tyranny. We are not running a dictatorship. We are not running a coup of leadership. We are running a democratic, a constitutional democracy. And once the constitution is very clear in matters that are pending for decision, the president ought to have been very careful and reserve his pronouncement in terms of proceeding on such a matter. Such decision of president to proceed to suspend the Chief Justice is to undermine the authority of the other arm of government. When you say the arms of government, you think that everybody would understand that every arm must be independent on its own. So it will be wrong and unconstitutional for the president to overlook a pending decision in the court to proceed to do what he did. And Kojo, there has been many objections to some of these particular procedures that has been used. It's been questioned. One of such is contained in the Supreme Court of Ghana Law Report 2005-2006 in Ajay versus the Attorney General and Akwiti. Very respectful lawyers, judges have made pronouncements. One of such pronouncements is Dr. Datiba, who is of the opinion that there has not been clarity in terms of the committee that has been set and even the establishment of the prima facie. So it's also established by Sophia Akufu, who have also indicated that such a matter must be relooked at. Because if you read entirely of the Article 146, it is clear that this committee that has been set up is an ad hoc committee. And the nature of the work of the committee in terms of the references and the work that they have to do is not clearly defined by the Constitution.
Okay, Mohammed, but in 2018, when the NPP government then was handling the petitions that were brought against the EC chairperson, Charlotte Osei then, went through the lay-down procedure as the Constitution directs, not so?
Kojo, these
No,
are
no, no,
two
no, no.
different- these are two different cases.
I want a yes or no. Not so. You
I am
went.
saying that these are two different cases. I cannot
how
use
different?
a yes or no.
No, but
I'm saying that,
how different?
Yes, due process was used, and the due process that was used did not infringe on any unclear or described or prescribed procedure. All the procedures were followed, but in these particular circumstances, there has been questions, and that is why I am referring you to the Supreme Court of Ghana Law Report 2005-2006, where Datiba Sofia Akufo, Professor Georgina Wood, Professor Okran, all judges of the Supreme Court made pronouncement and clearly indicated that the terms of reference of the committee is not defined. And we cannot situate the committee, in this case, to define their own scope and terms of references. And that is why in that particular report, reference was made to Article 126 to 142.
And this was in which particular case?
Of Court Act to guide the processes of court proceedings and what have you. So there was a recommendation in that Supreme Court book that Article 145 and 146 should be looked at, and a clear procedure be given to the committee that is set up. Today, if they ask you, what is the procedure, the form in which the committee is going to do, the committee will certainly go and sit down and determine their own terms of reference or the nature of which they are going to handle that. So once there was a case at the Supreme Court pending a decision to be made, the President, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana, should have exercised restraint to wait pending that particular decision to proceed. And if he has,
I want us to follow you in your argument. Which particular case was the Supreme Court handling when they made those pronouncements, as you refer to, in the law report?
I've not heard a question.
I'm asking that you refer to a law report provision, some conclusions in the law report that challenge the procedure. And I'm asking which particular case where is this that the judges were making reference to this, so that we can all go and check and follow what you're saying.
Reference Ajetum versus Attorney General and Akweti.
Okay.
And this was relative to a similar matter, and these judges were expressing their views by way of report, and they were all agreeing to the position of Dr. Datiba in terms of the judgment that Datiba and the conclusions that Dr. Datiba had reached. And in fact, if you read it carefully, Sophia Akufo JSC, who is former Chief Justice now, agreed to the position. Okay. You also read that you see one of the judges, Georgina Wood, who also a former Chief Justice now, also agreed to the conclusions of Dr. Datiba. Professor Okrai, who also agreed to the conclusions of Dr. Datiba. It was very clear.
Okay, let me bring in Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer. He's the Deputy Director of Elections for the NDC. Doc, the NPP says this is a political witch hunt. How does the government or the NDC answer this question of the political witch hunt here?
Kojo, let me say good evening to you and the cherished listeners. You see, NPP, the defeat they suffered in 2024 election has confused their thinking capabilities of how governance is separated between executive, legislature, and judiciary. When they were in power, you see, I want to set some parameters very clear. NPP, I want to find out something from them. Why are they crying more than they believe? So that's what you should be asking them. Is the latest Chief Justice the woman organizer of NPP? What is your problem?
Kojo, can you let my brother withdraw that? She has never been a woman organizer of the NPP.
So hold on. I'm building something. So long as you say the woman is not a woman organizer of NPP, of what business are you people now her lawyers? If we are the lawyers, let us know. NPP are the lawyers of the Chief Justice. Then we know how to deal and cruise with that path. Because, look, I'm happy you asked him. In 2018, When you people in 2016 you were on campaign platform saying that when you come to power you are going to remove Charlotte Osei and her deputies. We thought you were joking. Little did we know that you were planning this thing. And shortly you were handed over power. You quickly trumped up charges against the lady and her two deputies. Went ahead. At that time, didn't you know the constitutional dictates? Didn't you know the processes therein in the 1992 Constitution? Maybe they are forgetting. We are not using the 1969 Constitution. We are using the 1992 Constitution. And I'm happy he's quoting this to copiously from that judgment which happened in 2005, 2006. You people came and packed the court with your judges, your former parliamentary candidates. Look at the current setup of the Supreme Court. If anybody is to talk about judges which has been packed there by political appointees, then you should be accusing the MPP. Accuse the MPP.
But how do you define them as political appointees when the Constitution has mandated the president to appoint people to the Supreme Court? And that's what he did.
And they are still making noise.
I mean, Tanko, I'm asking, how do you determine as, the president packing the court with political appointees when the Constitution, explains the process by which the president can appoint someone to the Supreme Court?
You see, the law is two-faced. The spirit and the letter. That's why you are looking at the law. Now, when you are looking at the spirit of the Constitution or an article that is put in there, in the Constitution, and talking of neutrality, you don't go and bring your party parliamentary candidate to be a Supreme Court judge. And you are telling me because the president is qualified. Okay, tomorrow they will appoint me a electoral commissioner and see who talk in Ghana.
No, but Tanko, don't they have a point when they say prior to the election 2024, and even immediate after, you were on the point that the woman should be sacked? And if they see that this is happening, and they right to then point to the fact that this could be a calculated political witch hunt that you are undertaking?
Kojo, has the president sacked the chief justice?
Suspended?
No, suspended. Suspended. Is it the first time an officer is suspended? No was not sacking his minister. You are suspending them. Is it the first time they suspended a state officer? Is it the day your mama has suspended somebody? It's a problem. You, Danado, just yesterday, you were suspending ministers. When we say sack him, you sack, you suspend. Sack this DC. I'm suspending the person. I want to investigate. Is it the first time an officer is being suspended in Ghana? Why is this NPP behaving as if they went to Jupiter and study education and we study it in F?
But Tanko, what has changed in the Charlotte Osei removal? The NDC had issues with that. Isn't it same now that the
suspension?
No, hold on. Isn't it same now that the Chief Justice has also been asked to step aside?
That is what I'm saying. It's a procedure. It's a procedure. They want to give her the benefit of the doubt. A committee has been set and say go and meet. Look, she's talking of Sophia. Their own former Chief Justice is in the Council of State. Was she not on the bench when this ruling was made? Is she not part of the team, the Council of State members who sat and looked at the response of the learned Chief Justice and decided that there is a prima facie case against her? She should come and answer. We didn't appoint her. We didn't appoint that Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, the lady. She's there. She's at the Council of State there. So they decided on the matter, and they read her responses. And in the responses, they say, madam, you have a case to answer. Let's form a committee. Go and defend yourself in front of the committee. Then a political party will constitute themselves into an arbiter of this matter, and they are crying even more than the woman. What is their problem? That's why I'm saying NPP, the hypocrisy of NPC knows no bounds. Because you do one thing yesterday, when that thing is staring you today, you are running helter-skelter. You want the whole world to hear you. When you were sacking Charlotte Osei and the two deputies, do you know that because of the trauma the man went through, he died? Amadou. Mr. Amadou Sule died.
Did the doctors link that to the sacking? Are you saying that in the autopsy report they linked it to his sacking?
Trauma can kill somebody. Because it's a Muslim, they didn't do autopsy. The man is a Muslim. Muslims don't.
Well, unless the doctors proclaim that. But let me bring in Haruna Mohammed again. Haruna, so when are we likely to see this demonstration or protest that you talk about?
Kojo, I think that my brother is reporting to you on the death of Amadou Sule because he was part of their election directorate. And Tanko Rashid is not a new person to the directorate of elections of the...
Well, that is not my question to you. I mean, I don't want us to engage in anything that we cannot prove. So go straight to my question.
And knows everything about Amadou Sule. You should not be surprised. Again, I also want to put it on record that the only political appointee we all know that is in Supreme Court now is Gabriel Fama, who was a general secretary of the People's National Convention. Everybody knows that the People's National Convention...
I don't know of that. So your statement of everybody knows, maybe you have to make it specific.
Yes, he knows it because the very PNC here is so much, and CPP so much close to the NDC here. So
my brother
the only...
No, but stick with my question. I'm asking, when are we likely to see the protest that your party speaks of?
Occupies any other political position before serving the Supreme Court. And again, he's asking of our locals why we are citizens. Our qualification to belong to political parties in Ghana is because we are citizens of Ghana. We have interest in what happens in Ghana. And the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana is not for NDC, is not for NPP, is not for PNC. So it must be put on record. Anything that affects any arm of government, more especially and dangerously to the judiciary, the NPP is so much interested. And that is why we are making clear our positions on position of law. And that is why we are making this particular point very clear. Yes, you are asking about our request and impending demonstration we are talking about. It's going to be massive because we cannot sit down for us to have a judicial coup. It is not going to happen. This will not be tolerated. I don't think that this woman deserves what she's been put through. I think that if there is processes to go, the processes must be fair. And I think that something must be done about it.
No, but I mean, with all that we've heard, what makes you think the processes that are being implemented now are not fair?
Was part of those who agreed that prima facie has been established. It is very clear that the Constitution didn't say that the Council of State determined prima facie. That is also something that is questionable within the legal luminaries. It is not clear who establishes the prima facie. You can't say whether it was the Council of State decided that there was prima facie. If they can advise, and their advice is not compulsory to be taken by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Ghana. He could take his own decision without necessarily looking at what judgment that the Council of State has passed. And you cannot also say that the members of the Council of State, all of them had agreed. And I don't think that Madam Sophia Akufo will agree to that particular point in point for what he's saying. So I think that the harm has been caused. It's left with us as Ghanaians and the New Patriotic Party and other well-meaning Ghanaians to get up and stand and fight for the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. I don't think that this is what should be happening in our judiciary system. What happens to the independence of all the arms of government? What happens to that? I think that there should be a closer look, and I don't think that this is the way for us to go.
Well, quite interesting that the process that you used in dealing with Charlotte to say, when the same constitutionally prescribed processes are being used on the Chief Justice, you find issues with them. But Tanko Rashid, so yes.
Yes, you see, the processes that is explained in Article 146, is very clear as to who establishes the prima facie. Do you get the point? And as to how the decisions are made with respect to other justices of the Supreme Court, and also in the case of the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. In these particular circumstances, they are not the same. The processes are not the same. They start at a point as looking at the same procedure, but they come to depart because of the nature of the cases. So they are not the same. Even though they take the same form, but at a point in time, they separate their ways in terms of how...
Well, no one has said they are the same, but is there these are processes that the Constitution, prescribes. But I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Tanko Rashid, make a complete point and let's leave it.
Quick one, Kojo. Mm-hmm. It appears NPP is hiding something from Ghanaians. They should let us know. They should come clean. You see what they are doing. Their hypocrisy is legendary, and I'm happy the way you question him about it.
I'm grateful to you. Tanko Rashid, computer doctor, is Deputy National Director of Elections of the NDC. Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the NPP. There's a lot more on this developing story coming up on Newsnight.